passion looks like anger to uncompetitive people. And so when they see me on the sideline, especially in basketball, baseball is a little different environment, but in basketball, like, I'm fighting for my kid.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Talk Elevation. I'm your host, Michaela Nagel, and today we're excited to be joined by two coaches from Arvada West High School, Corella and Danny Vais. Ian serves assistant boys varsity basketball coach at Arvada West, where his approach combines player development with strong emphasis on team culture, mental toughness, accountability, and preparing young athletes for life beyond basketball. Danny is a boys basketball and baseball coach at Arvada West and brings a unique perspective from his own playing career. After graduating from Arvada West in 2002, Danny went on to play college baseball before spending 6 years in the Minnesota Twins organization. Today, he's back at his alma mater, teaching PE and coaching while also owning and operating elite baseball in Golden, Colorado. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we can't wait to hear more about Arvada West and what you guys are up to.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So first, can we? I'll start with you, Ian. Talk about your basketball journey growing up and how it led you to coaching.
Yeah. Basketball was not my original sport. Actually, soccer was, like a lot of kids. I did that, and I was a goalkeeper until the kids started getting older and started kicking the ball harder. And I was like, I don't know if this is for me anymore. So then I transitioned into basketball. And over the years, I played basketball, went to Chino Hills High School, played basketball there. I made it to college level for NAIA. And then after graduating, I coached some volleyball. Wanted to get back in the basketball world, got plugged in with Danny here. And he said, "Yeah, I guess we could use you. We'll see."
I guess you can come aboard.
Yeah.
Anytime you can get free help, man.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Did you guys when did you realize you kind of wanted to be a coach for both of you?
Oh man, some of my coaches in the past were some of the biggest influences in my life for sure. And so I would say during college is when I started running camps. I started kind of working with some youth and that type of stuff. And after college, I was like, hey, I kind of want to keep this going. I like this. Yeah.
So for me, it would probably be my fourth year of pro ball was when you kind of like look around at the people around you and you're like, dude, like it's going to be tough to make a living at this because they're freakish humans and they're really, really good. And so I just kind of started paying attention to like what the instructors were teaching and how they were teaching it. And not to say that I mirror everything that they did or believe in everything that they did, because I'm one of those people that believes there's many, many different ways to accomplish and be successful at something.
Yeah.
But I mean, my coaching career, started when you want everything to be the best for your kids. And so I've been blessed to have 3 children and Cooper, my oldest, just kind of leading him and wanting to be as experienced and knowledge, because I know the people that I deal with and they say like, oh, I'm dad. And, I got to a point where I couldn't coach my kids anymore. And kind of a little background on me, I actually lost my dad going into my freshman year of high school. And so he was my youth coach. And so kind of coaching my kids has always been like the passion for me. And then just kind of spreading it out into other kids and helping other kids is what I've been fortunate enough to do. So
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, sorry for your loss, first of all.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. But it's nice to see putting a happy emphasis on it.
Yeah.
So you actually graduated from Arvada West before playing college ball. So what's it like coming full circle?
It's been amazing. I mean, to be honest with you, just kind of the rebirth, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say, in the like 2010s, that kind of decade-long span, like Arvada West was kind of a dying place in Arvada with like the growth of Ralston Valley. And it seems like all these schools were opening up around that just kind of took enrollment and took kids. But it's been awesome. I mean, like when I went to Arvada West, it was very much a centric school around sports and kind of keeping the culture of like the atmosphere around the community around sports. And fortunately for me, I was approached by the athletic director, Golden Volk, and Jerry Santarelli is the principal who hired me, but Micah Porter's kind of taken the reins from it. But we've got a good thing going there, and it's been really, really fun to just kind of be the next kind of wave through of kind of rebuilding it to what it was, because it used to be an unbelievable place.
Yeah.
Yep.
How have you guys kind of turned that around and try to make this place place worth playing.
Well, I give all the credit to Danny for sure, but I'm just grateful that he lets me work with the guys. I bring a different approach, and I get to work with some of the bigger guys, kind of start working on footwork and just kind of different mentality too. But Danny's really built a really good program, very disciplined and very hardworking. And, these kids want to be there. They're excited and they want to play hard. So I think it's really cool to see kind of the environment, the culture that Danny's been able to build.
Yeah, no. Don't ever let any coach fool you. You're only as good a coach as the players that you have. And so we're blessed. We have great athletes there that again, they want to work really, really hard. And so for me, I've never met anybody that does something really, really hard, like puts their heart and soul and doesn't have success from it. And so that's kind of been our backbone of both programs that I coach is, like I can't control how tall or how fast or how all these things that people think they can control, but we can control how hard we work. And so one of the big emphasis that I have with, all the guys that come and help me and myself included is like, we're going to be there for the kids every single day, day in and day out. And if we model nothing else, like we can model what like hard work and dedication to something looks like. And you'd be shocked at, all the grief that we give these younger generations for what they can and can't do. And they really take to it. I think it really like the emphasis on hard work is a lost skill with kids because they think all these people just have the answers. And I don't ever pretend. I say it to everybody I coach, I don't pretend to have the answers. But I also know that there's not many people walking planet Earth that'll outwork me. So if that's a skill that I can pass on to our kids, I feel like that's a skill that would, translate into sports at the next level, running your own business at the next level, just taking care of your own children at the, when you get older. So that's kind of what we've built our program around.
Awesome. Yeah, just anything in life, really. Yeah. Before we move on, let's talk about something every serious athlete needs to pay attention to: your digital footprint. Fan Day Nation has just released a powerful new tool to help athletes make sure their social media profiles are fully optimized and recruit ready. Today, coaches aren't just evaluating game film, they're evaluating character, leadership, and maturity online. This resource gives you a step-by-step roadmap to clean up your profiles, highlight your strengths, and avoid common mistakes that can cost opportunities. If playing at the next level is your goal, don't leave your online presence to chance. Go check it out now at fandaynation.com. Ian, you touched on it a little bit, but you bring a technical development with culture and mental toughness. How did you develop that coaching philosophy, and how do you work with that with the players?
A lot of it was development myself, honestly. Okay. I work at a business where I was director of culture for the business, and I do a lot of marketing for that too. But a lot of it is just like Danny's saying, teaching people. I mean, a lot of times for youth, we focus too early on just winning. We're not focusing on the fundamentals. We're not focusing on the discipline or the development of the players and how can we grow these kids into their best selves. And I think that's a different perspective that I also bring, and it jumps on board with Danny's already perspective there of building these kids up. And like he said, teach them that they could work harder, that they could be better, that they can challenge themselves further and that type of stuff. And so that's kind of the mindset that I can help bring. Yeah,
that's awesome. What is it like to see? Do you see those players kind of click? They're like, they've been working on a skill and finally they tweak one little thing or something and they finally get it and it kind of clicks with them?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest joy in coaching. Yeah. I mean, and in teaching in general is just you're trying to mold a 14 to 18-year-old kid into something that not only fits into a team, but also fits in for what they want to try to accomplish in the sport. And I think that's one of the things that really gets lost in translation is like, from the teacher's aspect of it, like you have the valedictorian kids and you have the kids that you can barely get, able to show up for class, right? It's no different on the basketball court, like baseball field. You have kids that are going to eventually pursue this and make some money from it. And then you have kids that just do it because socially they want to belong to something at a high school. And so being able to mesh that side of it and basically take every strength that a kid has, I mean, that's what coaching is supposed to be all about. And so when you see a kid get it and see a kid enjoy what they're doing, because no matter what anybody says too, like You don't enjoy something. I don't enjoy going and playing golf because I can hack it around for 120 strokes on the weekend, right? And so trying to get kids to understand that, like, as they get better at something, they will learn to enjoy it more. But sometimes, like, the what it takes to be able to get to that point to enjoy it is the real mountain that they have to climb.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you both talked about creating a strong culture. When an athlete enters your program, what do you want them to immediately see within you guys?
Man, a community.
Yeah.
Honestly, like somewhere that they belong and somewhere that they know that they're not going to just not be challenged. The pursuit of excellence is a huge thing. And so if we could challenge these kids to continue to pursue excellence and grow and be better, it's kind of funny as a coach. Sometimes you're working on a kid and working on a skill set or something, and you tell him one thing, and then you bring in a different coach and you're like, hey, can you tell this kid this? And the coach says exactly the same, and the kid's like, oh, that makes so much sense. You're like, well, that's part of the journey
you heard
too.
It the seventh time.
It's fun. It's fun to impact these lives and just try to do what you can to help them understand and help them grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say just a commitment to like the accountability piece, to showing up every day, and just being in an environment where they feel safe to fail, knowing that like they get called out on it. Trust me. I mean, I do plenty of calling out on it, but they're in a place that, like, when they get called out on it and when they get held accountable, that, like, it's in a place of love, and it's in a place that we're trying to make, I know Ian said it earlier, but, like, that's all you can do is try and make the best version of the person standing in front of you. And so when they show up with us, they're showing up with telling us that they have a commitment that they want to succeed in basketball or baseball. And so it's our job to kind of make them succeed in the way that we see fit. I mean, that's kind of one of the strangleholds of a coach is, I see success in a very different view than other coaches view it. And so, but we're not out there just for cupcakes and rainbows. I can promise you that. Like, we're out there to compete, and we're out there to get better, and put these kids in an environment to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What have you guys learned about yourselves as a coach and growing over the years?
Man, that's a good question. I've learned a lot. I say it actually coaching translates into the business world too for me, with just leading a team, being able to present and speak to a team. I've learned that I can actually present and talk more than I am. I'm a mumbly giant. And so to enunciate is a good thing for me to have learned. And I enjoy that type of stuff. I mean, coaching for me also has shown me that I can have an impact on more lives than you probably think.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
For me, so going back to kind of what you touched on, me running a club baseball team. So I actually started that club baseball team because I was told from 2 high schools that I wasn't qualified to coach their baseball team. And so I basically told them, like, well, if I can't coach your baseball team, then I'm going to have to start something on my own for my own kid. And so I can tell you, my older son, so he's going to be a senior this year. He actually committed to pitch at the University of Texas. Okay. And he'll tell you that the worst year he ever played for me was 8U baseball. And I can solely reflect on myself as a person and as a coach that, like, my emphasis was 1,000% on winning. And if you win, like, winning takes care of all. And, like, in the world we live in today, and, like, all the stuff that's going on, and what I've now seen transpire for my son as he's gotten older, like, winning matters, right? Like, I don't know anybody that goes out and loves losing, but like the development side of kids and, like, kids growing as a player. And so it really changed my coaching philosophy to basically be, if I can grow every single player as an individual, then winning will take care of itself. And really, for me to kind of step back and understand that my role as a coach, like, sure, we got to make adjustments and we got to substitute, we got to do all that stuff, but, like, your role and the actual outcome success of your team is actually very, very small. And so, like, if you trust your players and you've prepared your players, then you should be able to step back and just kind of let them play. And I was actually on one of my son's recruiting trips down at the University of Alabama, Nate Oates. I was talking to him, who's the basketball coach at Alabama, and he said that if I don't have to call a play, or I don't have to, like, scream stuff to my players before the fourth quarter, or, like, for them it's late in the second half, then I've done my job preparing them. And so, yeah, I mean, most of my screaming's not directed ever at our kids. And most of my screaming's directed on other things. But, you know, that's really something that I took to heart last year, and we had a ton of success with it. And I don't plan on anything changing. But, like, for us as a coach, that makes the accountability at practice and, like, practice time. You know, I say to all our players all the time, like, practice is my time, game is your time. And so we do a pretty good job of making sure that they're prepared and ready for what they're about to encounter.
Yeah. Well, speaking of getting prepared, you guys, school just started. So what are you guys prepared for the next season? What are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm actually really excited to see how the guys come back. You know, I've seen a couple of them already. They've grown. You know, some of them are really working on different skills and different, you know, in the weight room. So I think that's the most exciting part for me, and then seeing where we could build from there.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, just seeing how kids change over summer. I'm 100% a baseball coach during the summer, so I don't see any of these guys with basketball or anything like that. And so, you know, they're coming back from their club teams, and hopefully it's stuff that they learned, and I can kind of see how I can put it to what we want to do philosophy-wise for our program and what we're trying to do. But just being around the kids, we'll get back in the weight room. Big weight room is a big thing for me. If you ever come out and watch our teams, like we fill out our uniforms and we make sure that, you know, we're never going to get out physicaled. And so one of the things that I try and tell our kids all the time is in every sport you play, there's so many variables, and there's only so much you can do to control all those variables.
Yeah.
Well, we can control what we physically look like. And so the weight room is a big, big part of everything that I do. And we lift 5 days a week, and we get after it. And we have dudes that look like they lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go back to baseball. What are you most looking forward to with baseball?
So for baseball, it was actually a really, really fun year for us. So we lost. We ended up losing in the elimination game of the state championship game. Oh, wow. And so that group of guys will always be super, super special to me because they were the group of guys that I coached with my older son. So my older son always played up with them.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I've coached them, most of them, since they were 8 years old. And so we lose 13 seniors. And, you know, for me, and I think for most of the state, they probably think that, you know, we'll take a step backwards, which, I mean, assumingly so, you lose 13 guys that had a huge role for you. But I'm just really excited to see these younger kids that we have. We got really, really good sophomore and junior class of super talented kids that were just kind of in a logjam. And so really kind of what my job is for them is to prepare them. Like, you know, I told them at the end of our banquet, like the standard is the standard now. Yes. And so every single year we've gotten just kind of one step better and one step closer to the ultimate goal for a team success. And, you know, in this world where everybody looks for the next, you know, post on Instagram and they're doing this and they're doing that. Kind of my big thing is that individual success comes from team success. And so I've never seen an MVP from a team that was terrible, right?
Fair enough.
We've been fortunate enough to have kids get recognized for what they do and how they work, and just not a standard that I plan on changing anytime soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, hopefully good luck to both the teams this season.
Appreciate it.
And next season, I guess.
We're proud to celebrate women who lead on and off the court. Nico Stones welcomes new brand ambassador Sophie Ziddell, a standout basketball player at the University of Colorado. Her exclusive edits is all about confidence, strength, and the style that moves with you. Support women in sports and shop Sophie's limited collection now at nicostones.com.
So you both work with athletes who have goals of playing beyond high school. As you just talked about, when you look at players who successfully earn opportunities at the college level, what separates them beyond just the talent that they have?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I'll start off.
I'll go for it, man.
Yeah. I think discipline. I think their ability to communicate, time management. Those are some of the things. Coachability. A player who's able to take information and then apply it and learn from that, and not just do it once, but, you know, change their habits. Those are some pretty big things for kids. Their failure response. Yeah, when someone fails, when there's a mistake, when things aren't going right, what's your response? Are you on the bench pouting, or are you fighting with the team to, hey, let's fix this, let's make some changes, let's make some adjustments? that's a huge one right there.
For sure.
Yeah, I was glad you mentioned that one because that's the biggest thing that I've kind of seen, through this whole baseball journey that I've had with my son, myself personally. It's the people who end up. No, don't get me wrong. Like, you have to have general physical gifts to play level by level, right? Like,
Right.
there's a certain level that it takes to be able to play at the Division II level and the Division I level and so on and so forth. But ultimately, like, athletes are going to fail.
Yeah.
And so it's, the response to failure in the sense for me is like, do you recognize your failure and make an adjustment to what you just failed at so it doesn't happen again? Are you making excuses for your failures and instead of just like recognizing, like, I'm very much a routine-based human being, right? Like, wake up, shower, get my dogs walked, and like everything's like routine. And so, like, do you have something that maybe you can adjust in your routine, whether it's a missed free throw or, not executing a breaking ball on a count that you wanted to? Like, is there something that you can adjust? But ultimately, there's going to be failure.
Yep.
And so recognizing, like, what you can do to kind of adjust that failure to the future. But then most importantly, and I talk to my son about this all the time, is there's always going to be somebody better than you, right? And so when you're looking at the recruiting stage or you're looking at playing at the highest levels, like, it only takes one person that has a lot of power to love you, right? And I think oftentimes the kids try and like encompass the masses of, like, they see, the ESPN top 50 football players,
Right.
and they got 17 hats laying out in front of them, and they think that, like, that's what recruiting is. And for some it is. And like some people are very, very blessed and they have that many schools calling them, but ultimately, like, you have a goal of what playing at the next level looks like, and it just takes one person to love you. And so for those kids, like, being comfortable with being who you are, right? And so I talk to my older son about this all the time. If you don't throw 97, don't try to throw 97.
Right.
Be the best pitcher that throws 93.
Yeah.
Right? And be that person and be just as effective. And I think that's a trait that really gets lost because there's so many posts and there's so many, people talking all the time about what good looks like. Good has very different lenses for very different people, right? And so my thing with it, and ultimately what plays at the next level and at the highest level, is consistency. And so can you consistently be your best all the time? You got a chance to play at any level. Because ultimately those coaches, unlike us two, I mean, we can go lose 20 games this year, and as long as I don't, beat a kid up for losing, like, we're going to be okay. We'll still have our jobs. But those guys at the college level, like, their
Right.
job is reflective of their success as a team. And so all you're wanting is the most consistent players.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think people misunderstood the most about the recruiting process? Especially maybe parents or athletes.
The best way that I had it phrased to me, and it was just actually in the last couple of weeks, is that high school kids get scouted or like looked at based off of their skill, and so we're talking about major league draft stuff, but
Right.
college kids get recognized more off of their product. So like, are they consistently, like the stats and stuff? I think like as a high school person, and I learned this from basketball the really hard way. My senior year, I was runner-up Mr. Basketball at Arvada West, and like all Colorado, every award you could win. It seemed like I won every single award. And then I had somebody tell me, well, just so you know, scoring 26 points in Jeffco 5A is not like scoring 26 in the Big 12.
Right.
Right. And so there is like the genetic projectability of like, I'm a 6'1" white guy that's not very fast. Like, how does that fit into the Big 12? Right.
Yeah.
And so same thing, with stats in baseball, parents will be, tell a coach like, hey, my son hit 560 this year. Well, it's like you hit 560 off of guys that are throwing 80 to 82 miles an hour. Tell me what he hit off the guys that are going to pitch at the next level. Right. And so it's just more of a comparison to what the next level is, and not, baseball is a game of averages. That's why it's spread out so long. But like, what did you do against the best kids, not against the worst kids, right? Because everybody puts up stats against the worst players. And so I think that's kind of the one thing that always gets lost is like, you've got to put your son or your daughter out into the biggest pond and then see how they separate themselves out there. And I think a lot of time with the hidden idea of like success and all this stuff that like kids get, parents say they want to push their kids to have success, but they don't want to see their kids fail to ultimately have the success at the end.
Yeah, because you can't.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
can't
it's really, trust
succeed
me,
without failing.
I can tell you right now, it was really hard watching my son as a freshman strike out like 17 of 22 at bats in a row, right? Like, it's really, really hard, but like the growing pains of what that came from, I think ended up being pretty good for him.
Yep.
So,
you got to have the fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything misunderstood that
I was
you
just
can think?
so well said. I mean, I should just,
Yeah, man.
drop the mic right there.
Drop the mic. All right. So, Ian, you've mentioned concerns about early specialization and burnout. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what do you think we can do to prevent that?
Yeah, I mean, Danny said it. I mean, everyone wants to win and everything. Sometimes some of the coaches that are working with younger people, I feel like, they might be focusing almost too much on the win instead of the fundamentals and development of the players.
Right.
The overarching goal is to continue to grow these kids and young athletes into the best people that they could possibly be, and then challenge them and give them kind of the resources and tools that they can use to grow themselves and challenge themselves, push themselves beyond kind of the limits of what, society would probably say they could do, some of them. And so some of the tools for coaches to use is just to, one, have a perspective. There's some coaches that they have their system, and if you don't fit in their system and then you don't play for them, there's some coaches that make their system based on the players that they have.
Right.
And so you also got to find your system. You got to find the people that work within your system, and also find the system that works for you. And I don't know if I answered that question at all, but
Yeah, we got there.
yeah.
And then Danny, you see competition and skill development reaching new levels. Can you expand on a little bit about that and what?
So
that means?
actually, kind of a funny story about that. My son just got done throwing at area codes, which is like the big Western event for baseball. It's like 2 weeks ago, and finished up, closed like game 3, and came down, and there was 2 guys standing there waiting for him, and they're like, "Hey, how do you know Danny Vais?" And Cooper, my son's name's Cooper. Cooper said, "Well, he's my dad, and he's standing right over there." And it happened to be the scout and the cross checker that signed me to the Twins. And so we just kind of got talking back and forth, and always, I don't know if it was a jab at me or whatever, but he's like, "Hey, man, your son reminds me a lot of you as a pitcher, but he has a way better slider," right? And so it's just kind of one of those things that, to say youth sports now, when I was growing up playing, like, I remember playing for Mark Johnson at Cherry Creek, and it was the best players in the state all came together, and he really did a good job of, like, pulling all the kids from all the different areas. And now, like, I mean, I would be lying to you if I didn't say I'm in that mix too, but like youth sports has become a business. And so just like any other business, whether you're a carpenter, a painter or anything like that, like the better job you do, the more people come to, basically be a customer. And so I think that's really pushed the envelope with like the coaching at the youth levels for kids, where they're just being basically put in situations and basically kind of in an environment that's a lot more competitive than I could say I ever grew up with in Colorado. And so we always say that we want better for our kids. And I can speak from it truly. Like, I know every kid coach that I get, whether they come from somebody else or play for me, like they're a lot better prepared for like those next steps and all like kind of the things that come with the skill based of every sport that they play. And that same breath, so is everybody else too, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just that constant battle, and there's no difference than when I was growing up 20 years ago. That if you're good in New Hampshire, you're probably good in Texas too, right?
Yep.
And so it's just Texas seems to have a lot more of them than we do, right? And so it's just competition is awesome. I wish that people would understand that the failures of competition, and sometimes. I look like, all I care about is winning, but like I just, when you work as hard with the kids that we work with them, it's not like we're just like, hey, let's show up for 3 hours this week, Johnny, and get ready for, we're pounding weights, we're taking, 200 shots a night, we're doing a bunch of stuff. And so for me as a coach, the reward for me is the kids having success. And so I'm going to be passionate with them. And I have that quote that I wrote down, but like passion looks like anger to uncompetitive people. And so when they see me on the sideline, especially in basketball, baseball is a little different environment, but in basketball, like I'm fighting for my kids for everything that I possibly can. Doesn't mean I'm mad at them. Doesn't mean I'm mad at the officials. Doesn't mean I don't like other parents. It just means that in that moment, the only thing that matters to me is our kids having success.
Yep.
And so I'm going to fight just like they're sprinting. I can't sprint anymore. I'm about 70 pounds overweight. Like I can't sprint with them. I can't do any of that stuff with them, but I can sure fight with them.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. I like that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think separates a good coach from a great coach?
Jeez. I mean, there always has to be a level of just the knowledge that you have for the sport. I think the best coaches that I've ever played for, kind of Ian touched on it, like they're able to look at the person standing in front of them and make them not only like increase and grow as a player, but also like how they can fit into success. And that's sometimes what's really, really hard for these kids, especially I look at it like the baseball, basketball club scene, right, where kids jump from team to team all the time. Like my version of a successful player and, Coach Wood's version of a successful player at Mount Vista are very, very different, right? High-level team, much different versions of but like what are pretty common things, like how hard is that kid willing to compete, right? Doesn't necessarily, I had a kid play for us 3 years ago that was a super, super vital kid to our success as a program. Scored like 4 points a game. But like was the hardest worker on the floor, like dove for loose balls, like all the little things, and just understanding that like for me, like you don't have to score a lot of points to be a contributor to what we're doing, but you can't have a lot of mental mistakes, right? And so I think that the best coaches, just kind of circling back to it, I think the best coaches just are willing to, like, you have the skill base, because in this day and age with youth sports being such a business, if I'm telling a kid something and they're going to their club coach to be told something different for whatever reason, because mom and dad pay that person, a mortgage payment, like somehow they know more about sports than I do,
right?
Which is fine. And so it's one of those things where getting respect from the players is the most important thing. And if you can get their respect, you can grow them as a player, which grows your team. And so I think the coaches, and every coach does, there's very soft, touchy-feely coaches. I'm not that person. And there's just coaches that go about it in their own way, but like the coaches that also ultimately get the respect of their players and can basically drive a unit in the same direction are probably usually the ones, right? Nick Saban's unbelievable. Love that guy.
Sure.
Yeah, how do you learn to motivate your players? And how can you combine a team and then push them all into the same direction for the same vision, mission, goal? And so,
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. All right, guys, last question for you both is, years from now, when your players are looking back at their time at Arvada West, what do you hope they remember most about being coached by you guys and being a part of this program?
I always say that I don't even remember half the games that I've played in my life. The things I do remember, the experiences that I've built with my team, the lessons that I've learned from my coaches and working hard with the team, and those memories, the good times, the bad times, the travel trips, that type of stuff. And so for me, when the kids are older, I hope they look back and they remember the fun that they had with the program with their players, but also, hey, I learned this one. If a player can learn one thing from me and they remember that, they take that with them for life, I think that's something. That's something that made it all worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, kind of echoing at that, I think for me, obviously having my high school basketball coach pass away when I was still playing baseball, and just being able to go to his funeral and you see, the people, obviously you got to have the stage presence to be willing to step up there as a young kid, but like I hope that, the day I pass away, all my former players come back and like they can say, I know that they're going to say, man, was he intense, and man, was he this, but like I hope that they can, say like I can say about my high school coach that like what he did for me, even though he was a basketball coach and I played baseball, like it positively affected their life in some way. And so it doesn't have to be in sports.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to be able to play sports, but maybe it's being a great business owner. I mean, hell, maybe it's just being a great father and a great wife or a great husband, like those type of things are often overlooked. And, I was actually talking to my wife about it the other day, and it's like, you look back and, when we were high school sweethearts. So we were setting our goals for kids when we were, 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
And like, I was looking back on it, I was like, yeah, I mean, Major League Baseball was a big part of what we wanted to do. But I mean, we just wanted to raise 3 good kids and be able to have fun with it, right? Raise some kids and have a sturdy life. And like, for me, that's okay. Like, I'm fine with that life. I don't need anything extravagant. And so I just want people to know that were around me, that if you were in my circle, and, again, if you're not in my circle, you probably don't like me, but it's one of those things that if you were in my circle, you knew that I cared about you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, guys, good luck this season. We'll all be watching, and hopefully we can come to a game of yours and see you guys succeed. I know, Danny, you're not on social media, so do you have any accounts that you can share?
Just the Arvada West boys basketball and the baseball account. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of social media thing's never been in my realm, and I don't like eyes on me, and I want the eyes on the kids, and so we have our team accounts that we follow.
Perfect.
So run.
Awesome.
Same there.
Same there.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Well, thank you guys again for joining me on Fan Day Nation, and again, good luck this season.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you guys.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on The Talk.